Tonight in a Fox 5 exclusive, we're hearing directly from the man at the center of the federal takeover of D.C. Police's force. U.S.
Marshals Director Gady Serralta is overseeing command and control of the operation, coordinating multiple federal agencies on the ground. He is live now from the White House to talk more about the scope of the mission and what this all means for the nation's capital. Sir, thank you for joining us. I know you come from a police background. How do you use that and extrapolate that across what is a massive operation bringing all these different departments and organizations together?
Well, thank you for having me. And well, with 35 years experience in law enforcement, you know, I've worked gangs, narcotics, organized crime, a number of different entities. So it's pretty simple. I've led the Marshal Service in the Southern District of Florida, and now I'm the director of the Marshal Service. So it's quite simple when you have 16 agencies that have come together at the request of the President of the United States to make D.C. safe and beautiful again. So I have willing participants. We use intelligence from the Metropolitan Police Department, and we deploy our units as strategic as we can.
Let's talk about that, and I do want to warn our viewers, if you're hearing a little bit of a lag, it's because we do have a delay here as we conduct this interview with the director from the White House. Let's talk about operations. You were at that meeting with the Attorney General as well as with the mayor 2 days ago. So was Pamela Smith. There was a bit of a question as to who exactly is in charge at this point. It seems as though from the president's point of view, it's you as well as some other people at his helm. What about operations? I mean, we've seen a lot of presence in high traffic areas in Georgetown, on U Street. What about Ward 7, Ward 8, where the crime is higher, where the residents want to see a resolution here and want to see that crime driven down?
Well, yeah. Well, so the deployment is going to be citywide. There's going to be no part of the city that doesn't have law enforcement at patrolling in those areas, and high visibility patrols. And that's done because if we only deploy to the locations where the high crime incidents occur, then the bad guys just move their operations to the areas where there are not patrols. So the entire city is being covered by law enforcement, and that's how we're going to keep it.
I know the president has said he believes that people are happy to see this response. And to be fair, there are people who, when you see a police officer on your street, you at least have some reassurance that somebody's keeping an eye on what's happening where otherwise it may not have been. But we saw last night checkpoints set up on places like 14th and U and 14th and V. There have been people said they have been stopped by officers on the street asking for various papers or identification. Do you run the risk, sir, of scaring people who live in these neighborhoods who otherwise may be unhappy with the presence here?
I do not think so. I can tell you that the folks that we're working with are professional law enforcement officers. They know how to do their job. You know, if they stop someone for the taillight and ask them for paperwork, that's normal. That's
for citizenship papers?
Law enforcement.
For a taillight?
In those instances. So I can tell you from personal experience, I had a... No. I'm not familiar with the case that you're talking about then. Okay. I'm just saying that traffic is a component of our saturation. So traffic is one, narcotics, we target guns. So there's a number of things that we are targeting. Okay. So traffic is one of them. I thought you were talking about just traffic cases.
Director, well, since you bring up that point and we're having this conversation, we saw that order come down from Chief Pamela Smith about the work with federal law enforcement for ICE compliance. What do you know about that right now? How much of a priority is that? Because this initially started to crack down on crime, and now we're talking about immigration status, which completely turns things on its head there. How much of that is what you're encouraging your boots on the ground to do, as opposed to actually cracking down on violent criminals?
Well, the answer to that is I am happy that Chief Smith decided to issue that memo. I think it's good leadership. That's the law here in the United States, and we need to follow the law, and we need to follow all the laws, right? So any individuals that are going to commit crimes in the city are going to get arrested, and that's the message that we're sending out. This cashless bail thing that happens here in D.C. I mean, that's a huge part of the problem here. You know, no sooner than the officer puts him in, that, you know, that same officer or another one on the same beat or the beat after is rearresting this individual. I mean, that's got to stop, and it's got to stop now.
Director Serralta, we appreciate you coming on here on the Fox 5 News at 5. I know that you have just been sworn in about 14 days ago into this office. Our wish, I think, for many people is that you familiarize yourself with Washington, D.C. as you get acquainted with the Metropolitan Police Department, who have been hamstrung with less officers on the street. And we'll see where this goes 30 days, as the president has now asked for the prolongation for a longer period of time. But we'll wait and see what Congress decides there.
Yep, Gady Serralta joining us here. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that here on Fox 5.